Hi, I'm Reverend Paula Skiles with Unity Church of San Marcos, and this morning we have an opportunity to share with a couple of people. This is Carol Johnson and Linda Stimmel. And so this morning they're going to be talking and asking a few questions, and we're just going to have a little discussion, a little bit about unity and what we are about, just in case you have some curiosity. So, what would you like to ask this morning?
I would like to ask what your favorite thing is about unity.
Well, honestly, the favorite thing I have, honestly, is the 12 powers. To me, the potential within humankind and recognizing that potential are Christ in the making faculties, if you will. To me, those are what gives me hope. They're like, prior to that, most of my life before Unity was living life as if, I was subject to a God that was very distant and or pretty angry all the time. And that was not very appealing, to be honest. And learning about how you and I have qualities of being, like our faith, love, our strength, our imagination, our life, all of these things that combine, and we can develop them. And as we develop them, we have an opportunity to become more wise spiritually, spiritually mature, more capable of being connected to God, more connected to humankind, being able to expand ourselves in spiritual means that are it's just not really feasible without these development, or the development of these qualities of being. And that the Bible has this correlation to our own lives, and that all of the disciples are symbolizing and representing these 12 powers within us. So to me, that's one of the most intriguing and most powerful aspects of unity that just speaks to my heart and just made it possible for me to think, there's a God who loves me, really loves me. It's okay to hear the words, God loves you. But when you hear all the other things as well, it's confusing at the very least. So that's just, what about you? What is your favorite thing?
I think the 5 principles. Who else has 5 principles? I mean, I'm the girl who went to confession.
Yes.
When she was 7.
Okay.
And the priest kind of was very wise, and he said, "Dear, how old are you?" I just made my first Holy Communion. And it was the lack of heaven and hell. If Pope doesn't believe in hell, why should I? I didn't then, when I was a Catholic. But he said, "Dear, you are, how old are you?" And when I told him, he said, in a nice way, and not quite this directly, "Why don't you go out and live your life, and go out and play, and sin a little, and then come back." It was like, it's so dull. I said shut up to my mother 5 times, and I didn't even count it, I just made it up. But I knew I had said it sometimes, so I just made up the numbers, And I laughed all the way home. It was 10 blocks to our church, and I just laughed all the way home, thinking how wise that was, and I won't return every single week of my life, walk 10 blocks to do a confession, you know. So it was and I looked at other churches, and they all seemed to be, people are bad. I believe whatever, Anne Frank, really, and people like that. Who's the other one who wrote the wonderful book about man's search for meaning? Viktor Frankl. I do believe, even being 75 years old, That's not on tape.
Yes, it is.
Well, you can't be anything else from
It's
what you
out
are.
of the box
Too
now.
bad. But you know, after 75 years of living and seeing a lot of anger and hate and cruelty and evil, I still believe there's basically good in all people.
Yes.
I don't think you should have lunch with Hannibal Lecter. You know, seriously.
Yes, I hear
But, you know, there are people that are too dangerous to be around
Mhm.
and too selfish to
I
be
hear you.
around.
Okay.
But basically I think people are good. And that's what unity is all about, the goodness of people.
Yeah.
That people, well, let's build on what's good. We don't expect you to be perfect. We expect you to make mistakes. It's like, what a relief, you know.
Yes.
It was wonderful.
Yes.
So that's what really ended up bringing me. How about you? What brought you to unity, or what's your favorite part? Or
Well, I was looking for answers as to my life was kind of in a mess at the time, which a lot of people come to church, one church or another, looking for answers to how to fix themselves.
sure.
So I accidentally found the Unity Church in San Marcos because our former minister, Sandra von Gillenband, had performed a wedding ceremony for some people we knew. And so one day we were passing the church, and so we drove by the church, and her name was on the marquee, and I said, that's that lady, that's that lady, that's that preacher, that's that lady preacher. We got to go there. We got to go there. Because I had never even heard of a lady minister, because I came from a Baptist background and they were all men. So, you know, that. But the other thing was I was just looking for some direction. Some peace, some direction, and somebody to help me find my way. And so I actually found all of that, not just with Sandra and her teachings and the Unity teachings, but through watching the Unity people that went to church there, how they behaved and how they spoke about their life, or how they spoke and lived faith and love and all these things, the 5 principles and the 12 powers. And then I started taking classes and learning more about it and learning how I could apply those principles and knowledge. And I really didn't even know very much about the Bible, really. I didn't. I knew some Bible stories, and I took every bit of that verbatim. That, you know, that's how it was. But I wasn't ever happy with that because I didn't like being governed. I felt I was governed. And with this church and this community, I was learning that I didn't have to be governed, and I didn't have to feel bad about myself, about decisions I may have made in the past, and I could let go of that. And I knew that God forgave me a long time ago, and the only person beating me up was me.
I hear you there.
So I have really loved it. I've loved the people that go there. I love the fact that people in all the Unity churches that I've been to, I mean, for the most part, people really work hard to live by that same community of belief, you know, of love, and then our 12 powers that and then of course I learned about Reiki and all of the 12 powers and the 12 points in our bodies and the 12 points of how we all were connected to these 12 powers and the 12 powers to the 12 disciples, and all these numbers started coming up, you know, and learning about the significance of all of that. So it's just been a real joy to explore the Bible in a different way. And Paula is very good about using a lot of examples from the Bible. And Sandra did too. And that helped me start to figure out what the Bible was really trying to say to me. So, yeah, that's what I love about unity.
Yeah, I think the way that we are able to look at this beautiful work we call the Bible,
Mm-hmm.
this beautiful work of humankind that is inspired by the Spirit of God, you know, and look at it as a story of our own lives, you know, from Genesis through Revelation. You have the spiritual development of humankind as told in a story of a people, and then culminating in the story of one person. But all of it is about, from the very beginning to the finish, is the aspect of you and I, how to mature and grow spiritually. All types of conditions are spoken of in this book, and
Mm-hmm.
and the human situation that we find ourselves in so many times, and it speaks to how we can understand ourselves even a little better, and knowing those things about myself, and knowing those types of things upon reflection that I need to, for me personally, because every one of us are different, but for me to get that sense of connecting to other people, because here's a book that talks about me, but it speaks to everyone the same way.
Mm-hmm.
So to me that's pretty powerful.
Well, also the Spirit. I had to learn about the Spirit. I mean, I just didn't have a real concept about the Spirit. And, I mean, you know, other than thinking about the Spirit as a ghost or something like that, you know, I just really didn't understand the significance of me possessing a spirit. And my spirituality of who I am,
Spirit, soul, and body.
right, being part of God.
We have our own
And
trinity.
yeah,
of being.
our own right. I had to learn that, you know,
Yeah.
and that our spirits, even though we all sit here in different bodies and different names and everything, we still have spirits that are pretty much one if we really wanted to let that be. Believe in that, and know that we can all be one together. I think it's a great concept that taken a long time for me to get myself wrapped around it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, any complicated level of understanding that, like the Bible, or even principles of being, are going to take some time. Not only to assimilate, but just to, because they have so many levels of depth to them. You know, whether it's, you know, just the surface level where you take things literally, or if you can take them deeper and see the symbology of things, and see the capacity that you have as a human being to be an expression of the living God, to be that true child, to be that child of God that is part of who our DNA is actually designed to be. I think it's pretty unique. I think it's fabulous. I looked at a lot of different religions before I got into unity, and you know, each of them have something that makes them good at what they are. And I think that people like myself who are drawn to unity are individuals who are looking for the mysticism in their faith. And by mysticism, I mean having a one-on-one relationship, having that personal connection that is real and viable, and your faith is not shaken. You may have your own doubts about yourself sometime, but you don't have any doubts about God.
Right.
And I've learned a lot more about forgiveness and
Oh,
how
that's a big
hard
one.
I can be on myself, and that, God has forgiven you, died for your sins and everything. Well, yeah, but our de-emphasis on the cross, it's not just about that, it's much more. It's not less, but it's more. And when I get stressed now, I do the unity things. Not always. Sometimes I really mess up. Sometimes I yell at my husband like people. Often I yell at the dog. But I mean today, But I do see it as, all you need to do is stop, breathe, say a prayer, know that God is right with me, whether it's in the car, whether it's cooking, whether it's thinking about something, whether it's reading, whether it's stressful, whether it's my husband's health challenges right now, or his aging, and I tend to get a little impatient. That surprised me, because it takes him so long to do things, or he's, but I need to forgive me and just keep trying.
Yeah.
And it's the keep trying, it's kind of like sports. It's the keep trying. You're going to go in there, you have a losing season, but you don't quit. Really.
Yeah.
I call it seasoning.
Oh, that's a good word.
Yeah,
That's a
because
good word.
not only have I been seasoning, but I've been actually able to talk to younger people and recognize, where they are, and I could actually, it wasn't a motherly talk, it was just a calm down talk. You're seasoning. This is all, we all go through this. This is something we're all going through. We've been through that. I've been there, done that. You're going to do that, and we're learning about ourselves, and we're learning to be good to ourselves. We're learning, all about so many things in life. And all I can tell you is that we're going through a seasoning, and I'm, even as old as I am, I'm still seasoning. I recognized that in my mom, when she was getting ready to die. And I was so grateful that I could recognize it.
Yeah. Thank you.
And think about that after it was all over,
Carol, thank you.
Well, you're welcome.
Linda,
Glad to be here.
thank you for joining me, and I'm grateful for you to join us, become a part of our Unity family, and if you feel inclined, you're welcome to come to our meetings. We hope to begin meeting again in person in January of next year, 2022. So, thank you all for being with us this wonderful time of year, and may you find yourself seasoned as well. God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.